How's it going, everybody? My name is Justin,
I'm Jody.
and we are Board Game Perspective, and today we are taking a look at Pandemic Fall of Rome. And this is a cooperative 1 to 5 player game in which you are trying to prevent the barbarians from sacking Rome. Okay, so let's go ahead, take a look at this game, and then we'll come back up and give you guys our thoughts.
To set up the game, you'll put all the different barbarians and the alliance tokens in the corresponding colored spot on the board. Each player will take a color of their choice as well as a player aid. And you will also be receiving some starting cards depending on the player count. And you will be choosing a starting city from your hand. And this is set up for a 3-player game, so each player chose a city that was in their hand. And you will also receive 2 legions with you to start. And then you have the player deck, and depending on the player count will determine how many event cards and revolt cards get placed inside of here. Then you have the invasion marker, decline marker. You have some forts and dice that will start on the side. However, you will start with 1 fort in Roma. Then you also have the barbarian cards, in which to start you are going to take out the 5 red cards and some of the gold cards. The 5 red cards get placed in the discard pile face up. For the gold bordered cards, you're going to shuffle them up, and then you're going to be choosing 3 at a time, and we're going to be placing out barbarians into corresponding spots. So to start, I've got these 3 locations right here, and I'm going to be placing out 3 barbarians of that same color in each of those cities here. And then you'll draw the next 3 and you'll put out 2 cubes per city for those. And then you'll draw the last 3 and put out 1 cube per city. And once you're done with those, these will all get placed face up in the discard pile. And once it's all set up, it'll look like this. So the goal of the game is to have all 5 barbarian tribes no longer threaten the empire. That will be through forging alliances or making sure there are no more barbarians of that color on the board. Now this is a cooperative game, so players are going to be taking turns back and forth, working together to try to win the game. And down here on the bottom of the board, list how the turn is going to go. So first, you're going to do 4 actions, and then you're going to draw 2 player cards, and of course resolve any revolts if they have been chosen, and then lastly invade cities. So each player is going to be doing this on their turn, and then there's a hand limit of 7 cards at all times. Now let's go over all the different actions you can take on your turn, and each player has a nice little player aid that lists all the different actions you can do. So on your turn you can do up to 4 actions. Now it's important to note that you can do any combination of actions, and you can even do the same action multiple times. The first action is march, where you can move into other cities and you can carry up to 3 legions. So let's say this player wants to march to an adjacent city. So we're going to go here, and you can take up to 3 legions, so I would move all of these guys to here. Next is sailing. This is where you're going to discard a city card from your hand to move from a port city to a different port city. And the port cities show these little anchor symbols, and they're all across the board. Now the card's color has to match the color of the destination city, and you may also take up to 3 legions with you. So let's say we want to go here, for instance. I'm going to play that white card. And then I can move up to 3 legions as well, and I will go over there. Next up is fortifying. This is where you're going to discard a city card from your hand that matches the city that you're currently at, and you're going to be placing a fort there. So let's say this player wants to do that. They have this Nerona card in their hand, which they will discard, and they're going to now be able to place out a fort in that city. You can also recruit more legions while in a city with a fort. Now you can place regions up to the recruitment level, which is up at the top of the board here. And so right now we're at recruitment level of 3. So I can take 3 legions from this legion area and place it in the city where I'm at with the fort. Now we have battling. So let's take a look at this area here. We're going to do a battle example. So you're going to roll up to 1 battle die for each legion in your city. So we've got 2 legions, so then we can get 2 battle die to roll. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and roll these. Okay, so this means I have to remove a legion back to the supply, so I lose a legion, but I also get to remove 1 barbarian, so let's just move this guy. And there's other options. If you had rolled this, you would lose 2 barbarians and then 1 legion. There's some, let's see, oh, this is the special player ability So on everyone's card, you have this little, I don't know, is it eagle, something like that, and it gives you a special ability. So for instance, this one, I can add 1 legion to my city. Now you can also plot as an action, and this is where if you and another player are in the same city, as in this case right here, you can either give the matching city card to the other player or take the card from them. So they're both in this city here, and so they could give or take this card. Forging an alliance is also another very important action you can take. This is where you're going to be discarding the required set of cards of that tribe's color in a city containing a barbarian of that color. So there's different alliances here. This will require 5 cards, 5, 4, 4, and 3. Now, for example, we have this guy right here in a city with a green barbarian, and they happen to have 4 cards in their hand, and they want to forge an alliance with the green barbarians. So you discard all these cards, and then you will now take this token and forge an alliance and put it in the alliance area. And the last action you can take is enlisting barbarians, and this is where you're going to discard a matching card of an allied tribe. So we have an alliance forged with the Huns. So we're going to discard a matching color, and then we're going to replace all the barbarians of that color of where we're at with legions. So I'm going to get rid of all those barbarians, and there's 3 of them, so I'm going to put out 3 legions in that city. After you've done 4 actions, then you're going to draw 2 player cards. So here's one, and we'll add to our hand. And if you happen to draw a revolt card, then you have to immediately resolve this card. So first what you're going to do is you're going to move the invasion marker up 1. So that's up here. This gets moved up, which is not a good thing. And then you are going to, draw the bottom card from the deck here. So the bottom card. And we're going to immediately add 3 barbarians to that city. Where is down here? And then this gets placed in the discard pile, which then gets shuffled. And once it's shuffled, it will be placed on top of the barbarian deck. After drawing the 2 cards and resolving any revolt cards, you now have to invade cities, and you pull the number of cards based off of the invasion rate that you're at. So we're at 2. So we're going to draw 2 barbarian cards and invade, which is placing 1 barbarian into a city that can be invaded. Now, a city can be invaded if it's either already has 1 or more barbarians of that tribe. So for instance, this one is over here, and there's already a barbarian of that tribe, so we will just simply add another one there. Or the previous city on the migration path that has 1 or more barbarians of that tribe. So let's look at this one, Carthago. So let's see, Carthago is over here. And the barbarian cards also show you the migration path that you will be going back on. So there are no barbarians in here, so we got to keep going back on the migration path until we come across a city that has one, which is here. And so we'll actually put it this way. We'll actually put the barbarian cube here. And it's also important to note that if you happen to be placing barbarians in cities that have legions and forts, those will help defend the city against the barbarians. If a 4th cube is ever added to a city, so this one right here has 4, then that city has been sacked. And whenever a city gets sacked, you will move the decline marker down 1. And there will also be, you will be adding cubes to any adjacent city. So for instance, we have an adjacent city there, so I'll be adding a barbarian there. And there, for sack, it also goes outside of its migration path. Now it is possible if a 4th cube happened to be added to another city from the sacking, then there could also be a chain reaction sacking where it triggers yet another one. So players are going to continue taking turns back and forth, doing the 4 actions, drawing cards, invading cities, until either you won or you have lost. So to win the game, for each tribe, you will have to either have forged an alliance or removed all barbarians of that tribe from the cities on the board. So if we had all of these down here like this, then that would be a winning scenario. There are also 4 ways that you can lose the game. So whenever you're needing to add a barbarian cube to the board, If you aren't able to, so for instance there are none in the supply, then you immediately lose the game. Also, if a player cannot draw 2 player cards because there's not enough or not anymore, then you will also lose the game. And if the decline marker is all the way down here, you will lose the game. And lastly, if Roma ever gets sacked, you will lose the game.
Alright guys, so there you have it. That is Pandemic Fall of Rome. And there are a few things that I actually really liked about this game. I liked it, and it's a little bit different than other pandemics that we've played. I like that you kind of put these out you put the barbarians out kind of along the path that they follow, and it's not just like, okay, there's the city gets overloaded and then it spreads from there. It goes out through the path. So I kind of like that little distinction there.
Yeah, you trace back on the migration path back toward where there's a previous city that has barbarian typically.
Right.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a kind of a creative way to do that. And then I also really liked that they use these legions that you can actually recruit and start taking with you to try and defeat the barbarians along your particular path that you're taking. So
by using these battle die.
By using the battle dice, so I mean it was. I think that this pandemic was really well done, and I liked those 2 particular kind of aspects about it. So, what were some things that you liked about this?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of echoing that, I enjoy, just the pandemic experience, and I enjoyed this setting as well. The only thing I really struggled with was all the city names. I had a really hard time, like, what is that city? How do you say that? Where is that? Like, I mean, I still can't even Mogo Tai come. I don't even know how to say these names. So we definitely need to play like with a historian.
Oh, yes, a historian.
I don't know, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Like you said, with the legions and the battle die. I don't mind me some dice, and I have fun with those. Yeah. I think overall I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did too. I thought it was a good one.
Well, there you have it. That is our thoughts for Pandemic Fall of Rome. So if you found today helpful, feel free to hit that subscribe button and like this video. And thanks for joining us today, guys. We really appreciate it. And until next time, thanks for watching.
See ya.